friends, it's Miss Lori here. Welcome to the summer reading program Tales and Tales. Would you like to go on an adventure with me today? You would? That's great! So I thought we would go today and check out the grasslands in Africa. You guys ready? Get on your lucky hats and get your binoculars ready to see all the wonderful animals. All right, let's take a look. Oh wow, do you guys see the giraffes? Look how tall they are, and look at all those different spots. I wonder what other animals that we could find. Let's keep looking. I see the lions. Oh my goodness, the lions are huge. Do you see their big sharp teeth? Wow. What else do you see? Do you see any other animals? Let's be really quiet and let's get our binoculars and look. I see some zebras. You see them with their black and white stripes? Look at them all running together. Wow, that was really cool. Would you guys like to travel to the forest and see what animals we can find there? All right, let's get ready to go. Let's take a look. Let's be really quiet and use our binoculars again. Oh wow, look, a koala. Look at him sitting on the tree. Let's be quiet so we don't disturb him. Wow, so today we visited the grasslands in Africa, and then we also went to the forest. We found a lot of interesting animals. Which one was your favorite? That was mine too. So would you guys like to join me in story time today? All right, well let's go get our eyes ready and our ears listening for story time. Well, hello friends. I'm glad you could join me for story time today. That was a great adventure. So I got two stories for us to read today. The first one is Giraffes Can't Dance. So this one's all about giraffes. We saw them in the grasslands today, didn't we? Well, let's get started. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. Look how skinny his legs are. And look, Gerald lives in the grasslands. He was very good at standing still and munching soot off trees. But when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Uh-oh, he fell down. Now every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. Jungle dance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad because when it came to dancing, he was very bad. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthog started waltzing, and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced a tango that was elegant and bold. The chimps all did the cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Look at them all dancing. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked towards the floor, but the lions saw him coming and they soon began to roar. Hey, look at clumsy Gerald, the animals all sneered. Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool. Oh, Gerald, you're so weird. Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. They're right, he thought. I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot. So he creeped off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He never felt so sad before, so sad and so alone. Then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky. The moon can be so beautiful, he whispered with a sigh. Excuse me, coughed a cricket. Who's seen Gerald earlier on? But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. See him listening? With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do some amazing things. His hoofs had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying, and his tail was swishing around. Look at Gerald dancing. Do you think he found it? Found the music to dance? He threw his legs out sideways, and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leaped up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful, his mouth was open wide. I'm dancing! Yes, I'm dancing! I'm dancing, Gerald cried. Look at him dance. Then one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him quite entranced. They shouted, It's a miracle! We must be in a dream. Gerald's the best dancer that we ever seen. How did you learn those dances like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how. But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and the stars above. We can all dance, he said, when we find music that we love. The end. And for our next read, we're going to read Koala Lou. You guys ready? We saw a koala in the forest today, didn't we? There was once a baby koala so soft and round that all who saw her loved her. Her name was Koala Lou. And there's Koala Lou. The ooms loved her, the platypus loved her, and even tough little koala claws next door loved her. But it was her mother who loved her the most of all. 100 times a day she would laugh and shake her head and say, Koala Lou, I do love you. Is Koala Lou and her mother? We saw a mother and a baby koala in the forest today, didn't we? Whenever she stretches in the early morning sun, or climbed a gum tree, or bravely went down the path all by herself, her mother would smile and say, Koala Lou, I do love you. The years passed and other koalas were born, brothers and sisters for Koala Lou. Soon her mother was so busy she didn't have time to tell Koala Lou that she loved her, although of course she did. Every night as she curled up under the stars, Koala Lou thought about the times when her mother had looked at her and said, Koala Lou, I do love you. And she longed for her to say it again. One night, Koala Lou had a splendid idea. Preparations had begun for the Bush Olympics. She would enter the Olympics. She would compete in the gum tree climbing event, and she would win, and her mother would fling her arms around her neck and say, Koala Lou, I do love you. Koala Lou began her training right away. She jogged and puffed and lifted weights and panted. She hung from a branch with one claw at a time until she ached. She did push-ups till her stomach hurt, and last of all, she climbed the tallest tree that she could find over and over and over again. Oh, looky here. They're getting ready for the Bush Olympics. Sometimes her mother would watch her and ask, How you gonna blossom? Fine, just fine, Koala Lou would reply. At last, the day of the Bush Olympics arrived. Koala Claus also entered the gum tree climbing event, and everyone knew how fast she was. But Koala Lou wasn't scared. She saw her mother in the crowd and imagined her saying, "Koala Lou, I do love you." Her heart filled with hope. Koala Claus had also entered the gum tree climbing event, and everyone knew how fast she was. But Koala Lou wasn't scared. She saw her mother in the crowd and imagined her saying again, "Koala Lou, I do love you." Her heart filled with hope. And there's her mother in the crowd getting ready to watch her. It was Koala Claus who went first. Her climb was a record-breaking 22 meters and 7 seconds flat. The specters whistled and cheered and wildly waved their party hats. "Can I do better than that?" wondered Koala Lou. "I must." She stepped towards the tree. A hush fell over the crowd. "On your mark," said the kookaburra. "Get set. Go!" Koala Lou leaped up to the tree. Up and up and up she climbed. Higher and higher and higher. Faster and faster and faster until she was right there at the very top. The specters roared and clapped and stamped their feet. She made it to the very top. You guys think she beat Koala Claus? Let's find out. But she wasn't fast enough. In spite of all her training and all her hope, it was Koala Claus who won the gum tree climbing. Koala Lou came second. Koala Lou went off and hid. She heard the shouts of Bush Olympians cried her heart out. When the first star of the evening appeared in the sky, Koala Lou crept home through the dark and up into the gum tree. Her mother was waiting for her, but she couldn't say a word. Her mother had flung her arms around her neck and said, "Koala Lou, I do love you. I always have and I always will." And she hugged her for a very long time. You can see her giving her a hug. Well, that was a really good story. Did you guys like that story? I did too. All right. So you get to make a craft today of a koala. It could be Koala Lou if you wanted to. I have everything ready in your grab and go bag, so don't forget to pick it up at the Royal Library. I'll see you guys next time.